How can we make the world better? By making ourselves better. The Dr. Joe Show explores how you can make positive personal change by using his groundbreaking and highly effective I Am approach to understand who we are and why we do what we do. Your small changes can have big effects.
Join us now for the Dr. Joe Show with Mark Stiles of Stiles Law, Thomas McCoy, and your host, Dr. Joe Schrand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dr. Joe Show. Nice.
You know, every week there's a slightly different intonation to it. You know, it's really each week is unique, Mark. Wonderful.
Every day is unique. Every minute is unique. Isn't it true, Dr. Joe? I mean, we could record it and let it play at the right time, right after your daughter hits that go, 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 go mark. Right. But I think, you know, some days it goes up and down or over to side, some breathing, some little breathing, maybe less wind. Let's do it a little different every time. Why not?
It's great. Down. It is, right? And that's why they call the present, right? It's a gift.
It is a gift.
It's our present, right? Let's introduce our guest for tonight. Tom, who's our guest for tonight?
Well, Dr. Joe, our guest speaks and writes about emotional healing and spiritual growth. She loves having conversations that can inspire the realization of our inherent wholeness. On her podcast, A Quest for Well-Being, she has interviewed over 800 healing agents in the field of well-being, as well as science and spirituality. Her platform shares and promotes healing wisdom grounded in direct experience, as well as informed by empowering practices, tools, and messages. Her community, Fit for Joy, is for open-hearted individuals who envision the embodiment of our interconnectedness as humanity. Her published books are Fit for Joy, Love Awareness, and Inner Peace. Welcome, Valeria T. Koopman.
Hey,
Valeria. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. As I said before, off record, I'm here for the fun. That's what I love about this experience called life, to have fun, to be light, to just enjoy the moment and be present. So, and I love the way you say that, Joe. We are doing our best. We do the best we can with what we have, the body and the conditioned mind that we run every day, every moment. So thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here. So tell me, maybe you can just tell the audience first right off a little bit about your show and your books. Which one would you prefer to start with, the show or the books?
I love everything I do because it goes deeper into the human experience and what this is. And we explore that in so many ways. That's the podcast, The Quest for Well-Being. But I do the same thing in my writing the books I have written. It's all about that. And I don't know exactly why, but it seems like it's the only thing I can do with this body mind I operate from. Some say it's a calling. It's just a label, an idea, a concept. But it feels really good. It feels natural, I would say. It's organic to do what I'm doing. So it feels good to me, and it seems like it's helping others. I'm connecting with so many amazing people, and it seems like it's resonating and creating some sort of change, per se. I'm not sure. I do what I do because I have no choice but to do it. So I know the numbers, the podcast's been growing and all that, but in the end, it's all about just doing what I feel is right. It just resonates with the heart, and that's what it is. It's love.
Yeah. How did this start?
Good question. The podcast, the writings came. The first book was the Fit for Joy book, and that came from the experiences I went through with childhood abuse and lots of suffering and pain. And that was my way to release all that pain, or maybe to understand, to see clearly what had happened. It's almost a way of reprocessing events. And then that was Fit for Joy. And then it grew into a second book, Love Awareness. I was introduced to the teachings of Advaita Vedanta, non-duality. And that kind of inspired me to create. Just insights came, and then new ideas just kind of flew through me, and that book came to be. And then the podcast, Inner Peace, the same thing. It's kind of influenced by inner insights and experiences too, with my family members and life itself. And A Quest for Well-Being, the podcast was kind of interesting. I was having a lot of difficulties in my relationship with my husband, my current husband. And I remember kind of asking for help and looking for help. And I came across somebody who was, I think she was a psychotherapist, but she had left that career to become a healer in Arizona, to become a shaman. And then she taught me some techniques of self-inquiry, and I started doing that. And then all of a sudden I noticed ideas coming up and questions would just arise. What have you always enjoyed doing in life since you were a child? What did you really enjoy doing? And that was talking, kind of relating to other human beings in a deeper way. I could not have small talks and engage in small conversations. So it seemed like there's something about in the mind that some call mental tendencies, to look deeper into things. And that's when the podcast idea came to be. And I'm like, why not? I want to talk to people about deep things. And that's how it came to be.
What's the name of the podcast again?
A Quest for Well-Being.
A Quest for Well-Being. I think everybody's on a quest for well-being. Isn't that true?
Yeah, it seems to be, but it's coming from conditionings, because the deeper I look into all this, it comes to me as a message that everything's already well, that this is already fulfillment to be here in a human body. It's the most amazing thing. Adventure, experience, whatever we call it. It's magic itself happening right now. So there's not really where to go, destinations, but well-being, from my perspective now, it means just being in the moment and having fun. Having fun.
So how do you help somebody find that journey, find that path, as opposed to pushing it away, or I not worthy, I'm here to struggle?
Yeah, it's a process. Like everything in life, it's we have to be ready. That's another component of change, because I have seen that with myself. I was not ready to listen to so much wisdom that I was exposed to at the time when I was suffering and going through so much struggle. I was not open to life. So I couldn't really listen to any of that. So the first step is to be open, to become curious about why. Ask questions. Why do I feel this way? Any negative emotion or negative feelings, negative thoughts, we've got to question them in a kind way. I do believe in kindness. And so it's all about kind of dancing that dance of understanding oneself. What's happening here? Why am I here going through these experiences or having these thoughts, negative thoughts? Kind of being open enough to ask questions. That's the first step. From that on, I think it just will come to you. It's all healing is self-healing.
Yeah.
Who we are and why we do what we do.
That's right. Yeah.
This is fascinating.
It is completely simpatico with the I am approach. It totally is. It dovetails, it merges, because the I am is a way to help you get ready.
Yeah.
That exploration, because it's forgiving. Yeah. It's saying you're doing the best you can. Let's look again at why you do what you do. I'll talk about this on your show, because this is our guest. I want to hear about you, but just so you get the idea is, if you look again and reverse those words, again look, Again, to repeat something, look like a spectator.
Yeah.
Let's respect who we are and why we do what we do. And it's that respect for yourself that allows you to do this exploration and this search without worrying what you're going to find. Yeah. Whatever you find, it's going to be remarkable. So I totally agree with your approach and methodology. And I think our audience members will absolutely love to hear a much deeper dive into this as we keep exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned one thing, non-duality.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Not two, just one. There's one thing happening here, just life itself doing what it does. So in different ways, in forms, but there's just one. Let's say they call it consciousness. You probably heard that word a lot. So consciousness, God, divine force, it's source is one. There's just one underlying reality that we call absolute reality. That's the label, but it can be felt. It's not something that is just an idea that we should implement and kind of believe in and have faith. I never really liked the idea of having faith just for the sake of it and without the understanding and without the experience. So what I love about the philosophy of non-duality or Advaita Vedanta is that it really dives deep into the experience of knowing that you are not your body or your thoughts, so your mental state, the mental activities. And that can be felt when we meditate. That's very clear to me. But it's not just meditation. That's one method. It's also connecting with others, doing what I'm doing now, like here, just me connecting with you. It can be felt like there's just, I'm talking to myself, really. There's you as almost like a character in a movie, but, just different characters, but it's the same play, it's the same dance, it's the same essence. There's nothing, if we really go deep into it, everyone can see that. We are the same. We are not separate. We're not different. It's just the eye, the body. The body creates this amazing illusion of differences, of diversity, of colors. But that's all biology. That's just how the body works. That's what it does. That's its reality. So it has its own reality, which it can be experienced through senses. But how real is that if it can end? Even if we have a brain issue, a car accident, and then we have issues with the brain, and we'll know pretty fast, some of us have experienced that, then that everything that we knew or experienced, it's gone. Now life looks completely different, or even, but I should not go that way. Why? Trying to explain that. Because it's very interesting the way we believe the body, right? What we see and the things that we can touch. It's so fascinating how we take that. We don't question any of it. And we really go throughout life experiencing this, which we call life, as if it was true. This is real. This is it. This is what life is. This is what my life is. And that's why we suffer so much too.
So you think sort of like that to damage the brain is to shake up the projector? Right.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, Tom. Yeah. Right. To complete that, what I was trying to say. Yeah. Right. So we are so fragile. The body, it's so fragile. The perception of life could just end or change so fast. Even our mental state, it fluctuates, it changes so much. So how real is that?
That is sort of a freaky thing to think about, isn't it, Dr. Joe? It's like, how much of us is our brain?
Right.
You think of Phineas Gage. Right. He was a railroad worker who got a metal rod shoved through his head and he became an entirely different person for the rest of his life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Phineas Gage was that story started our true understanding of brain in terms of how parts of the brain have different functions. But what's interesting is this idea that we are one and connected. And one of the things I like to say is, we're one species. It's called humanity. And in this day and age, we have so much division and so much anger and so much polarization.
Yeah.
And yet every brain is capable of that, but we're capable of other things as well. So how do we use this methodology, this belief, this idea to help our species? I mean, let me just throw a huge question at you.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do we do that?
Yeah, it's not a doing. I think that's another misconception, that we can do a way to the realization that we are one, that everything's connected, that there is an absolute reality where it's untouched, that just observes everything. One of the simplest ways to understand non-duality, or this idea that we are one, or the one, that it's not really the experience of the body mind, is to just stay quiet. When you sit quiet for a moment, meditation is a very good example, but you can do it now too. You see that the quieter you get, the more you're able to see that you could not really observe things that move if you're not stable, if you're not really looking from a place of, it's a big picture, if you can imagine, of that is so quiet and still, that can see everything that moves, all our thoughts, our emotions, and the way they change so fast, and the physical body, how it changes throughout life. And it's nature, everything changes, keeps changing and moving and dancing, like I like to say. But it's really easy to see that that we are not what moves, what is in motion. We are the observer. We are the one that's just quietly watching everything, not really as a person, as an entity, but it's the underlying reality, the only reality that there is. Everything else is a dream, like the dream. It's very similar to the dream we dream at night. Like think about it, when we have the dream at night and then we wake up and then we know it was a dream. Thank God. Nothing was real, really. It felt real, didn't it? The sensations, we had all the sensory experience, and then we wake up and we know it was not real. So in a way, being able to realize, not really an intellectual idea. It's fun to talk about it, though. I love talking about this at an intellectual level, but it's not really that. It cannot be understood by the mind anyway. We cannot rationalize it our way to it or do anything to get it. But it's just being quiet enough to see that what is there. That's you. That's the one that doesn't move, the one that's quiet, that's peaceful in spite of everything that's happening, all the chaos, all the change. And that's when you know. That's when the insights come, and then it becomes almost like as a practice in a way. The more we do it, the more we come to express it, or try to express it with words. It's not easy to express that with words, because it's the body and the mind is just can't do the job. But to answer your question, it's not, you can't really do anything to get there. It has to do with being open. It has to do with sincerity, honesty I say of heart. Just, you want to know the truth. You want to know why do we suffer so much? Why do we go through this and that? And then we remove the why, and then we just kind of question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who are you? And and the answers will come. And that's amazing how it deepens and deepens. And at some point, you just merge back with life. And like I say, I don't have a life. I am life. You are life. You are everything that this body mind is in touch with is just life itself. Kind of dancing the dance of the dream. What a dream.
Wow. We are all one. But how do you help folks like open their mind to it, right? They have to want to, like anything, right?
Yeah. You have to want to. That's an interesting idea too. You have to want to, but who wants it? If you're life itself, so it's really an interesting concept of this idea of the wand of there's somebody here doing something. It really doesn't resonate anymore. It used to, of course, the idea of the person doing something. Now it's life doing what it does, and it's not even falling into that space of acceptance of it all the way it is, but it's it's a sense of peace, of wow, it's you can't describe really what it is. It's beyond words really when you come to really know. It's not an experience. I call it it's a spiritual knowledge really. It's a form of knowledge.
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment. That sounds like a destination. I don't believe in destinations. No.
Okay.
It's no.
It's an awareness that you're on this path, this journey, this purpose or lack of purpose.
Yeah, not even. It's free. It's completely free. It can be anything. It can have a purpose or believe that it has a purpose. It can look for enlightenment. It can do anything. The essence, the underlying reality of who we are, it's free. It can be anything. It's really interesting how we use that. We use labels a lot and we go with it. And it's so limiting to use concepts and labels without the experience, without going deeper for ourselves and really having the sincere desire to understand and to see the big picture of what life is, what we call life, this human experience. So we are so limited by words, by the human brain, if we go in that direction. In a sense, I know I'm using the brain now to communicate and to be here, but the things that I say, the way I can hear myself, it's really beyond that. It's freedom. It's all about freedom. There's an essence, an underlying reality here now that it's perfect, that it's not moving, it's not changing, that it's just watches everything. That in a way, it's almost this stage where everything happens. But it's only when we can really sincerely ask those questions, those deep questions of who am I? Or who are you? Looking at the mirror, that we can get those answers for ourselves. And then in my case, try to communicate the message in the way I do, which it really sounds, just by listening to myself, it sounds out there. It's almost like an out there idea that we are not the body, that we are not the mind, that we are not what we see, hear, touch. The true self, the true essence of us, it just watches everything. It's the observer. It's not the one who is experiencing things. This. And it is at the same time. That's the paradox.
It's interesting because before we started the show tonight, you were having difficulty hearing with the headphones.
Yeah.
Right? This seems like a metaphor, right? I mean, can we hear ourselves? Can we hear who we are? why we do what we do. And this is part of what the I Am is trying to do, is to break down this chaos of life and yet build it up. What is spirituality then? I mean, how does that connect us to everything else? Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because I've had a chance, and folks, you should really, really listen to Valeria's podcast, because it's wonderful. But in the podcast, you are listening to your guests. This is what I get to do while I'm here with you on the Dr. Joe Show. I get to listen to you. What's that experience like for you? How do you integrate these things into your life? There's so many incredible people who come on your show.
Yeah. The integration of it all, of the experiences, of the connections. Wow. I think it's a sense of, there's a sense of flow. That's what it is. It's not, it's almost as if I have not really stopped at any point. It's a continuation. And it feels very peaceful. It's very peaceful because sometimes the body gets nervous. Like now I feel a little nervous for some reason, and the body does. And it's very interesting to observe these things, like, how interesting, how changed, how this responds to different experiences. But the underlying reality that I can sense, not experience, but sense, very subtle, is of peace, of continuation, of flow. It brings this smile to my face. It's like it's a very, not to say that this is something that once you realize that you're not the body and the mind and that you're free, then it's not that sadness ends and you're not going to have moments of becoming upset and all that. It continues to go. Life continues to be what it is. But there's something that changed, and that is that sense of inner peace, that sense of calm within. It's almost that knowing it's holding this experience. I'm not sure if I could communicate that, but yeah, that's what it feels like from this perspective of being a human body. Now,
so when you encounter something that you can't otherwise control, you have peace with that, as opposed to the struggle with that.
Yes, that's it, Mark. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, where do you see your role with other people and getting this message out? I mean, you have the podcast. I know that you're doing that because you really enjoy connecting with people, but do you feel a sense of obligation to help people become aware of this awareness, this journey, as opposed to the struggle that they believe they're here to fight through and get through and come to the destination of whatever that may be?
No sense of obligation. No, it goes back to freedom. No, it's free. Like I said, I think I said off record, it's almost like coming from a place of choicelessness. It's just life doing what it does in this reality, the empirical reality, which I kind of try not to talk too much about, or call it the dream reality, or the dream within a dream. But it is, no, there's no sense of obligation. It's just that flow again. It became that way at some point. I have no idea when, but it just kind of, yeah.
Valeria, have you seen the movie Soul?
Yes, I have seen that movie. Yeah.
It's what I'm thinking of, where is it Jamie Foxx is the
I think he's the main. Yeah.
He dies, and basically the movie is he needs to get back into his body.
Right.
Because he tells the higher ups in the afterlife, it's like, I haven't fulfilled my life's purpose. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Life's purpose?
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Don't
enjoy
worry
it,
about
right?
it. Yeah.
Be here now and enjoy this, because this is as real as it can get in this experience of body mind. This is in that sense, this is very much this is it. This is it.
So what do you say to the people who simply don't understand or choose to reject, even more so, reject what you're saying? No, that is hokey. Life, we're here to be educated, told what to do, get a job, do your job, retire, and die.
Yeah. I see that in my own family, my husband. I don't get to talk a lot about this around him because he has his own belief systems. He's a Christian, so he believes in the afterlife in a sense of heaven and so many other belief systems. That's okay. It's when you come from this place of freedom, then it's open enough to hold everything. It's not really trying to control, force anything. It's just free. It's freedom. It's freedom.
But then why do people resist that so much?
Why? With freedom?
Why is there a barrier to this?
Yeah, isn't that a great question? Why? I don't know. From my own experience, before realizing these things, it's ignorance, isn't it? It's not knowing. It's not. Yeah, in my case, it was. I didn't want to know even. It was scary to know that I was already free while I was suffering and having all these horrible experiences. So if somebody came to me and said, you're free already, you could be happy, you could be joyful right now. You have that option, not even as a choice, but you could be aware enough or open enough to see that option, the other side of pain, the other side of suffering, of sadness. But I was not open at that time. It took me a long time. So I guess that's what it is. It's being comfortable where we are. And
so we were talking a little bit about the barriers to this and why people don't just say, yes, great, I am connected. I am feeling joy.
Yeah.
Fit for Joy. How did you come up with that title, Fit for Joy?
Yeah, that came to me when I was going through the experiences of suffering, of pain, and trying to find the answers for what life was, my purpose was, and how could I get to that destination of being happy and joyful all the time. That was the idea. And then I became depressed. I was trying really hard to become something or to be something that would grant me, or give me this the permission almost to be free, to be happy, and to be accepting, to be loving. And then by trying too hard, I ended up very anxious and depressed. And then I had suicidal thinking at that point. That's when it seems like something shifted, which it's not. Now that I think about it, it's not really a shift. It's something it's always here. It's always present. We fail to see it because programmings, because conditionings, because this small space that we have been accustomed to be. So something shifted, or something happened within that turmoil, that deep suffering that I was going through. And then that realization just arose. You're already fit for joy. it came that way too, because I was in the fitness industry, trying to be as fit as I could get and healthy as I could be, so I could be happy finally. And that never happened. And then that was the catalyst for that. And then that idea just kind of came with a name, Fit for Joy. And the message behind it was that I was already meant to be happy, to be joyful. Not happy, I would say joyful, which has a sense of joy. To me, it's kind of different from happiness. It's more detached from external things. It's more has to do with that knowledge, that underlying reality, that deep knowing that you are beyond the body and the mind, and that you're free. So how can you not be joyful? It's almost impossible not to. That's what I mean. It's impossible not to become blissful almost immediately, because it's very freeing, and it illuminates the conditions of the body and mind. And then that's the expression of it. I think that's the best I can explain that.
I'm really intrigued by the pauses that happen with my co-hosts and myself, because what that indicates is that we are really trying to absorb this and process it. And that in and of itself, I think is very meaningful. You know, there's a lot of messaging in silence as well, because we're trying to absorb this and understand it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Which is
absolutely.
Which is totally fine. And you know, to our listeners, you know, it would be really interesting for you to explore this with yourselves. But listen to Valerie's podcast as well. Get the book. Because what the I Am is saying is that we are all connected, you know, and, you know, we talked a little bit about faith.
Yeah.
For me, faith is the enactment of trust. Faith is the action that you take when you trust enough. That's what faith is. It's belief. It's knowing that really that you're safe, because you can't have trust and faith if you're still feeling anxious that you're in danger. The brain just doesn't work that way.
True.
That's what trust is knowing that you're safe and that you can explore all these other avenues.
Yeah.
So you had this epiphany in the midst of a depression, it sounds like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then from that on, it was that journey of kind of restructuring my life, doing things completely different. And then I traveled to write the book, and then I changed my lifestyle. And then that's where my writing career started too. And then I started writing about these things, and I wanted to share them. And then the podcast. And then now I have also a team. I work with a team. We do a lot of videos. We produce a lot of different ways, different, let's say, promo items to share these messages, this deep wisdom. So it became a business of healing, of spirituality, of deep knowledge about life and ourselves.
And there's a market for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we would say that there's a market. There's a market. I mean, what is market? It's it goes back to that connection, doesn't it? Like the resonance, the energetic resonance. So we just expose ourselves when we trust enough. I love the idea of trust, though. We're trusting that the spiritual knowledge, the inner knowledge, that deep knowledge that you are the essence, you have to have the experience first, of course. So it's very, in a way, scientific. It's a scientific self kind of realization. So now you feel so comfortable and free that you can do anything. And it seems to me like doing what I do, what you do, is helping a lot of people. It's something that's a wonderful thing to do. But in the end, it's just, so maybe there's no end. it's just life. It's just life supporting itself and doing what it does, which comes to me as a message too, that it's benevolent. It's always trying to get us to this level of understanding so we can connect in a more harmonious way, balanced way. That's what it seems to me.
Yeah. And again, I'm looking forward to coming on your show to talk about it. But with the IM, it's respect leads to value, which is what everybody wants.
Yeah.
You know? And at any and every moment in time, you can remind someone of their value. And whenever you do that, you increase your own value. And that leads to trust.
Yeah.
And that's the connection that we have. So the IM, because the 4 domains interconnect, it has 2 truths. The first is small changes can have big effects. We're influenced by and responding to 4 domains, as Mark was saying, the home, the social, the biological, and the I see, how I see myself, how I think other people see me. Because the domains interconnect, a small change can have a big effect. So Valerie, what small change can you recommend to our listeners so that they can feel more joy?
Yeah, I would say gratitude. And if you could come from that place of fulfillment, that you know that you are already the fulfillment of life, to be here in a human body, which seems like that's the experience we are having, it's already fulfillment. It's an amazing dream. And so why not be grateful for? It's just adds more joy to it. So gratitude. Yeah.
I think that's really wonderful. And we just have to be cautious that we don't cling on to this body so much. Sometimes it's the idea of losing it can make one sad, you know.
Yeah.
So the second truth of the I am, everybody's got one. Everybody's interested in what you think or feel about them, which means you control no one. You influence everyone. You get to choose the kind of influence you want to be. Valeria T. Koopman, what kind of influence do you want to be?
That's very simple and easy. Kindness. That's that would be the influence. If there is one, kind of influence to be, it would be kindness, to be kind to oneself and to others.
And what will that achieve?
That's actually a practice that comes from that deeper knowing that you're already free. Then now you can't really, it's not really a choice. You can't help it but be kind to yourself. It just happens. And kindness, if we try to define what that is, it's accepting yourself, your journey in the human body with the mind that you operate from, exactly the way it happens, exactly the way it expresses itself in every moment. So there is a component of embracing the reality of the body and mind in moment to moment. So that's what I call kindness. That's my kind of kindness.
And for that, I think we can have enormous gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, to go together. This has been an incredibly enlightening show. And I want to express my gratitude to you.
Thank you, Joe.
For being so kind, truly, to share this with us. You know, we've had a lot of different guests talk about a lot of different things. And I think everyone can relate to this. You know, being able to show gratitude and be kind.
Yeah.
What a world that would be. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Tom, Mark.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. Larry?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you all next week on The Dr. Joe Show.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
We'll have
Bye.